Hello everybody, this is Husky10. I want to make a video about prototyping. What is prototyping? It's pretty much you're inventing a game, you're testing it out. Like this little game I have, I plan on finishing this game, adding levels, releasing it all this year. I don't have a name for this game yet. It's pretty simple. So I'm gonna start a new project. Yeah, that's not the real name. Clicked. It's not. It's gonna change. I'm gonna again create a new folder and call this prototype. Hopefully when you start your game you have a name. It's not always the first thing you come up with. I mean, heck, it's not the first thing I come up with. I mean, look at this. We got Pac-Man, DVD logo, Breakout, Pong 2. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and rename it. Pong 2. That's from the 2-player Pong project. Now I'm gonna select the folder and hit create a new project. Okay, so how I prototype could be different from everybody else. This is just the way I do it. Now, when you're prototyping, usually you have an idea, you know what you want your game to be, and the prototype is, you're testing it out. You're testing out an idea, you're inventing it, you're making sure that everything works, and then it eventually becomes a finished product. Shoot, I forgot to save that file. But anyway, that's not important. For instance, you want to be familiar with the game engine you chose. For me, after a few tutorials and after a few moments exploring this thing, I can kind of say I'm a little bit familiar. Not a lot, there's still stuff I don't know, but I am a little bit familiar with GDevelop. I started out using this. So you want to choose your engine that you want to prototype it and build it in. I started out with Scratch. I have a Scratch game on my computer. This is the final product, but I never released this game. This started out as a prototype. And I will get into what a prototype looks like in a sec. So, you insert the coin, you avoid asteroids and shooting stars. See your lives go down after colliding with them, and the bomb and a shooting star. Now, and game over. I had 17 fuel, no lives, but that's the finished game. But like GDevelop, like I was saying, you want to be familiar with your game engine. You want to look up a few tutorials, figure out how it works. Otherwise, you're up a creek without a paddle. I wasn't familiar with GDevelop, and the first thing I did was look up a tutorial like how to make a platformer, which was easy in this. You can make one in 15 minutes. I looked up how to make a shooting game. I looked up how to add bullets. I looked up how to add coins, add a score, and that's practically how I learned. Everything else I learned by myself. The new game I am prototyping, if I can find it. What the hell? Alright. I lost. I'm gonna have to start over on that, but maybe I'll use that as an example. So I have this idea for a game that I want to be an Android app. So the first thing you want to do is set up your scene. For prototyping, not everything has to be perfect. For instance, I can choose, since I want this prototype to be a platformer, I'm going to choose the sky to be red. This can be changed later. It's as easy as clicking a button. Say I want to do that, and okay, I got blue sky, but this is a prototype, so it doesn't matter. Now you add an object, add a sprite, rename it player for the sake. Later I'm gonna name it the character name. I'm gonna color it black to save time. Hit apply, and you have, if it'll drag, your player. Added behavior, and we're going to add the platform character controls. Default controls, everything's going to be default. I want to add grabbing ledges, and then you make another sprite for the ground. Not everything has to be perfect. That's the beauty of prototyping. Not everything has to be perfect. Oops. Now I'm going to add a behavior. I'm going to add platform. Hit apply. And there you go. We have a working platformer. We made that in what, 3 minutes? Like I said, this is a prototype. You're testing out, can I make a platformer? You're testing out, will my idea work? At least this is what I learned. Someone else might have a different explanation for what a prototype is. Now that you have your prototype, you can start adding to it. Like, I'm gonna add a blank sprite. I'm gonna put it here. Now I'm gonna add a thing. I'm gonna add a condition. Hit player. Position of Y equals 1000, and then hit OK. And then I want the player to go to a location, so I want to go to position, start, hang on, I didn't name it right. I'm gonna rename it to start. And here I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna do it again. Position equals start dot x and equal, and then equals start dot y. Hit OK. And this is what will happen. It will fall off. Okay, that didn't work. See, when you're prototyping, you wanna make sure everything works. This is where you make sure stuff works. And it's still not working. It's trial and error. So I'm gonna, instead of spending any more time with that, wait, I'm gonna make sure. You're pretty much testing if it'll work. And it's not working, as you can tell from me, so what I like to do is open up Notepad, new text document, and type in what bugs to fix and what I want to add. And then I save. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to save it. Now, oh, I know what this is. And I solved my issue. So, not everything has to look nice. I'm gonna add a camera. Camera center on camera X. I'm gonna use the lerp. I'm gonna type in lerp. Camera X, close it, comma, and then I'm gonna say player dot X, comma 0.05, close the parentheses, hit OK. And this is what we're left with. Now we can do a lot of things with this prototype. We can turn it into a running game, a jumping game, or whatever you want. But this is the first step that I take when I prototype a video game. Not everything has to look nice. That is for later when you're actually building the game and when you're actually playing and when you're actually polishing the game. I'm gonna add one more thing to the camera. So I'm gonna type in camera and center on Y position equals to, and then lerp camera Y close it, close parentheses, comma, player dot Y, comma 0.05. Now I found this camera thing on YouTube, and I found this on YouTube. All you have to do is Google how to make a checkpoint and how to make smooth camera movement. So this is what I am left with. A camera that follows the player is kind of smooth, and a checkpoint. what if I want the checkpoint to be somewhere else? So I'm gonna create a new thing. I'm gonna call it checkpoint. I don't need an image, but you can if you want. Since this is a prototype, we're gonna add the color yellow. You don't have to color code it. It can be whatever you want. These are all placeholders. So I'm gonna drag that into our area, and then I'm gonna say when player is in collision with the checkpoint, we're gonna change the position of the start to checkpoint X and checkpoint Y. And then hit play. Now when you collide with it and you fall off, you will appear at the checkpoint. All this stuff I found on YouTube. It's not really that hard to like Google search it. But yeah, this is how you prototype. You just add simple art, make everything simplistic. I'm going to change the Z layer of this to 0 so it doesn't block our character. And there you go. You have a prototype. What do you do now? Okay, we tweak it. We make sure all the code is correct and make sure it has no bugs. For instance, if I change this to 2000 and jump off, you'll just keep falling forever or longer. I tried to lower this down to 0. I tried to lower it down to 100 once, and it would not work. So, see, I typed in, I accidentally deleted that. So here we go. See it. Okay, yeah. See, I broke the game. You get 1000 and it just sits there. But 100. So if I hit 1000, everything works normally. I'm gonna fix that collision. So what you should do is get used to prototyping a lot. If you got a new idea for the game, open up a separate file. Say I want to add a boss, I would open up a separate, create a new file and prototype a boss. This prototype I'm not going to do anything with. This is just an example. But now that you're done, what do you do? What do you do with this prototype? Well, you start adding your art. You start adding more code. You start experimenting with more features. The rest is up to you. I think this prototype is fine the way it is. For instance, if I add a goal, add a sprite, create, I'm gonna call it goal, I'm gonna edit it, and I'm gonna color this blue, hit apply. I'm gonna add a new scene, call it goal reached, and I'm gonna say when the player is in collision with goal, I'm gonna change the scene to goal reached. Hit OK and press play. So you got your checkpoint working and goal reached. This is a very rough prototype. Think of your prototypes as a rough draft. Say you're drafting out a prototype. I mean, you're making a draft to a story while you're making a draft to a video game. It's the first step a lot of people take. They take ideas, build on it, they change stuff, and